Welcome back guys, good to see you. My name is Danny Burke. Now, it's no secret that Toy Story 1 is set in the same universe as Toy Story 2. That's a pretty obvious one. However, some movies that you thought were completely unrelated could actually be set in the exact same universe. So, I've gathered some of the best. Let's get right into the top 10 movies that exist in the same universe theories. At number 10 now we have Star Wars and E.T. Now it's no secret that Steven Spielberg and George Lucas are friends, and I've often dropped references to each other's work in their own movies. However, two specific examples have fans convinced that Star Wars and E.T. exist in the same universe. In E.T., as Elliot tried to smuggle E.T. out onto the street at Halloween, E.T. sees a kid dressed as Yoda and repeatedly says, "home." Now, is this proof that E.T. is familiar with Yoda's species? More evidence seems to come from Star Wars The Phantom Menace during a scene in the Galactic Senate. We see many different alien races gathered together, and if you look closely, one group is almost undeniably the same species as E.T. Some fans say this is all the proof they need that the two movies exist in the same universe. Coming in at number 9 now, we have the Pixar movies. Now this is the theory that every single Pixar movie ever made is connected along the same timeline. It starts with Brave and the discovery of magic used by a witch who mysteriously vanishes through doors. Then the story continues through The Incredibles, Toy Story and Finding Nemo, showing how the magic from the first film has brought intelligence and speech to inanimate objects and animals. If you go to pixartheory.com, you can check out the entire Pixar story from start to finish, and it does a lot better at explaining it than me. Next up at number 8 now, we have Spy Kids and Machete. In the 2001 movie Spy Kids, the heroes have an uncle known as Uncle Machete, played by Danny Trejo. It was a minor character, a man obsessed with tinkering in his workshop and not really getting along with his brother. Danny Trejo also played another character in a movie 9 years later, a man known as Machete, in the movie Machete. Both of these movies were directed by Robert Rodriguez, leading fans to believe that distant uncle in Spy Kids is the exact same man who roams Texas as a Mexican vigilante in his own movie. What do you guys think? Coming in at number 7 now, we have Coming to America and Trading Places. The 1983 movie Trading Places starred Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd, who swapped lives for the amusement of the rich Duke brothers before teaming up to take them down and financially ruin them. 5 years later, Coming to America was released, also starring Eddie Murphy. This time he played a rich African prince who visited America and decided to give away all of his wealth to live life like a normal person. He gives it all to two homeless men. One of them looks up and says, "Mortimer, we're back." The pair are Randolph and Mortimer Duke, played by the same actors as before, unexpectedly linking the two movies together. Coming in at number 6 now, we have Daredevil and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. This is a pretty funny one. In the original Daredevil comics, we see that Matt Murdock became Daredevil after saving a blind man from being hit by a truck. The truck contained a radioactive canister that hit him in the face, blinding him but giving him his superpowers. Now, in the first ever Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles comic, we see that the turtles got their powers when a radioactive canister bounced down a New York road, smashed a bowl with the 4 normal turtles in it, and proceeded to ooze radioactive sludge over them in the sewer, giving them their powers. Comic fans insist that this connects the two universes in their respective movies as well. At number 5 now, we have Ghostbusters and Casper. In the 1995 movie Casper, about the famous friendly ghost, a house owner wants to rid their home of ghosts, and so who are you gonna call? Obviously Ghostbusters. Then Dr. Raymond Stantz shows up with his full Ghostbuster equipment in a not so subtle nod to the hit 1984 movie. He ends up getting scared away by the ghosts, presumably because he doesn't have the rest of the team with him, but fans have been convinced ever since then that these two franchises exist in the same universe. Coming in at number 4 now, we have Jackie Brown and Out of Sight. Michael Keaton appeared in 1997's Jackie Brown. He plays Nicolette, an undercover agent type hunting an escaped convict. Well, Jackie Brown was adapted from a book written by Elmore Leonard, who also wrote Out of Sight. Now when that movie came to be made into a movie, the director approached Michael Keaton for him to play another FBI type character. He said he would only do it if the character was actually Nicolette from Jackie Brown. He said it would make the character feel like a real guy wandering around in real life. They agreed, and the two movies were linked with that same character in the same universe. Moving on to number 3 now, we have Reservoir Dogs and True Romance. In Tarantino's Reservoir Dogs, Mr. White talks to crime lord Joe Cabot, who refers to his partner in crime as Alabama. Mr. White said that he hasn't worked with Alabama for a year, but Who is Alabama? Well, in the movie True Romance, which Tarantino wrote the screenplay for but didn't direct, there is an Alabama. Her and her husband end up in a bloody hotel shoot-up in which he was supposed to die. This would have left Alabama free to go and work with Mr. White. However, the director of True Romance wanted a happy ending for the couple, so the husband survived, meaning Alabama couldn't work with Mr. White, thus linking the two movies together. Okay, at number 2 now we have Alien and Blade Runner. Now for many years, director Ridley Scott talked about how the world of Blade Runner was the same one that the crew of Alien were trying to get back to. However, it wasn't until the movie Prometheus was released that the concrete proof finally came. On the DVD, there was a message from Peter Weyland, CEO of Weyland Corp in the Alien movies, who produces the human-like robots. In that message, he described being approached by a mentor who wants to join forces and create perfect robots. Weyland said he had a god complex, lived in a tower, and the whole thing had blown up in his face. Anyone who's seen Blade Runner will know this is describing Dr. Eldon Tyrell, who was killed by one of his own robots in that movie. And finally, number 1, we have Django Unchained and Kill Bill. Now we've touched a little bit on how the Tarantino movies are connected, but this one is just too good to miss out. In Django Unchained, Christoph Waltz plays Dr. Schultz, a dentist who gave up the profession 5 years before the movie's timeline to become a bounty hunter. In Kill Bill 2, which came out 8 years before Django, in the scene where Beatrix's grave is being dug, we see a gravestone behind them for Paula Schultz, 1823 to 1853. She had the same name as Dr. Schultz, and the year she died was 5 years before the events of Django Unchained. So, apparently when his wife died, he gave up dentistry and took up the life of a bounty hunter. Alright, time for my theory. All the videos on this channel are set in the same universe. I'll go away and gather the proof for that next time. That sounded funnier in my head. My name is Danny Burke. Make sure you subscribe for your daily dose of top 10 facts on this channel, and I will see you all in the next video.